Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Kreativwirtschaftswebinar, heute live aus Tel Aviv. Mein Name ist Christina, ich bin Projektmanagerin bei der Kreativwirtschaft Austria, die als Teil der Wirtschaftskammer Österreich sich einsetzt für die Sichtbarkeit der Leistungen aus den Creative Industries aus Österreich. Wir bieten Services zur Vernetzung von Kreativen, zur Generierung von Aufträgen und wir holen Know-how aus dem Ausland für unsere Kreativen nach Österreich. Das machen wir nicht alleine, wir haben starke Partner an unserer Seite. Bei unserem Webinar hier heute uns ganz tatkräftig unterstützt hat uns die Außenwirtschaft Austria, die Internationalisierungsagentur der Wirtschaftskammer Österreich und das Team des Außenwirtschaftscenter in Tel Aviv. The Autonomous Vehicle, ein neuer Markt für Kreativleistungen. Das ist unser Thema heute. Und ich freue mich, dass wir zwei ausgewiesene Expertinnen an Bord haben, die uns hier zur Rede und Antwort stehen werden. Das selbstfahrende Fahrzeug gilt als die Zukunft der Mobilität. Und wenn wir in Zukunft nicht mehr lenken, nicht mehr schalten müssen, dann haben wir sehr viel Zeit, Raum, um im Auto, in Fahrzeugen diese Zeit völlig anders und neu zu nutzen. Das bietet viel Platz für neue Services und viel Potenzial für die Creative Industries. Autonomous Driving erfindet bereits die Wertschöpfungskette völlig neu und hat auch Einfluss auf viele andere Branchen. Wir stecken also mittendrin in einer Smart Mobility Revolution und wo wir genau in dieser Revolution nun stecken und was wir aus Israel lernen können von Smart Mobility Expertinnen und Experten, das werden wir heute hören. Ich darf euch ganz kurz unsere zwei Spezialistinnen vorstellen. Wir haben zum einen Tami Warshavski heute mit an Bord. Tami ist Direktorin des Innovationscenters ACT Shenkar, der renommierten Shenkar-Universität aus Israel. Das Innovationscenter setzt sich zur Aufgabe, Kreative oder die Studierenden und Alumnis bei der Umsetzung ihrer kreativen Ideen so zu unterstützen, dass sie ökonomisch nachhaltig sind. Von Tami werden wir heute Einblick bekommen über die Kreativszene in Israel und über Creative Skills, die in Zukunft nötig sein werden. Unsere zweite Sprecherin ist Orlie Dahan. Mit Orlie haben wir eine ausgewiesene Spezialistin für Smart Mobility an Bord heute. Sie hat über 13 Jahre Berufserfahrung, hat ihre Karriere in der Air Force gestartet, war danach bei einer privaten Luftfahrtflotte im Einsatz, hat auch selbst ein Unternehmen für Elektromobilität, für zweirädrige Elektromobilitätsfahrzeuge gegründet und ist die Geschäftsführerin von EcoMotion, einer Community für Smart Mobility mit über 9000 Mitgliedern. EcoMotion, diese Community, setzt im Mai eine Konferenz um, die sogenannte EcoMotion Week. Dort wird sich dann das Who is Who der Smart Mobility Szene zusammentun und auch ihr könnt mit dabei sein im Rahmen einer Wirtschaftsmission, die das Außenwirtschaftscenter Tel Aviv organisiert. Mehr dazu gibt es aber im Anschluss von Günter Schabhüttel, dem Wirtschaftsdelegierten in Tel Aviv. In diesem Sinne darf ich euch jetzt noch kurz den Ablauf der nächsten Stunde erklären. Ich darf im Anschluss bereits an Günter übergeben, Wirtschaftsdelegierte in Tel Aviv. Dann hören wir die zwei Speeches von unseren beiden Expertinnen und im Anschluss ist Zeit für eure Fragen. Die könnt ihr jederzeit auch schon während der Präsentationen stellen. Ihr habt ein Chatfenster, das ihr dafür nutzen könnt. Stellt uns gern eure Fragen. Wir werden sie anonym erhalten und bearbeiten sie im Anschluss dann bestmöglich. Eine Info noch, das Webinar wird aufgezeichnet und die Folien und Slides, die ihr hier seht, könnt ihr in circa einer Woche mit einem kleinen Nachbericht auf unserer Website kreativwirtschaft.at dann abrufen. Gut, in diesem Sinne bleibt mir euch viel Spaß, viel Inspiration zu wünschen. Wie gesagt, meldet euch gerne via Chatfenster. Und jetzt übergebe ich an Günter Schabhüttel in Tel Aviv, sage danke für die tolle Kooperation schon vorab. Und lieber Günter, the digital stage is yours.
Vielen Dank, Christina. Hallo aus Tel Aviv. Es freut mich, dass wir die nächste Stunde mit euch gemeinsam verbringen können. Danke, Christina, auch für die einleitenden Worte und für die Vorstellung der Sprecher. möchte nur vielleicht ganz kurz noch darauf eingehen, zu den einzelnen Sprechern, warum wir sie ausgewählt haben. Mit Tami Warshavski haben wir eine Person dabei heute, die wirklich einen sehr erfolgreichen Track Record hat, was Kreativleistungen im Technologieumfeld betrifft. Und genau das ist auch der Punkt heute. Es geht nämlich darum, oder in unseren Aktivitäten gemeinsam mit der Kreativwirtschaft Austria wollen wir darstellen, dass die Kreativität oder die kreativen Berufe eine Grundlage sind, um die technologischen Möglichkeiten der Zukunft überhaupt ausschöpfen zu können. Und das ist branchenübergreifend und wird sich in vielen, vielen Themen widerspiegeln. Und wir haben uns heute eben stellvertretend das Thema Autonomous Vehicle als ein neuer Marktplatz gewählt. Ganz kurz nur 2, 3 Worte zu Israel. Es ist gemeinhin seit mehr als 10 Jahren bekannt als die Startup Nation, hat sich diesen Namen erworben durch die Tatsache, dass es hier mehrere tausend Technologie-Startups gibt, die am laufenden Band Milliarden-Exits produzieren und einfach ein sich selbst erhaltendes Technologie-Ökosystem geschaffen wurde. Warum das so ist, dazu gibt es viele Gründe, die dieses Ökosystem geschaffen haben. Ein wichtiger Grund jedenfalls ist aber der multidisziplinäre Ansatz zur Lösungsfindung. Das ist jetzt eigentlich die nette Form davon ausgedrückt, dass Israelis eigentlich zu allem und jedem eine Meinung haben und die sie auch gerne teilen. Und dementsprechend gibt es zu Lösungsansätzen immer verschiedene Blickwinkel, um sozusagen das gesamte Spektrum des Themas auch greifen zu können. Und dieses Thema möchten wir wiederum jetzt transferieren in auf das Thema Autonomous Driving und Autonomous Vehicles. Insofern, dass wir Firmen ansprechen möchten, die nicht zwingend etwas mit Mobilität zu tun haben, sondern es geht eigentlich darum, zu sagen, okay, nehmen wir an, das autonome Fahrzeug ist da und wir können es jetzt nutzen auf verschiedenste Art und Weise. Und so wie die Christina gesagt hat, es gibt dann sehr viel Zeit, dass man in dem Auto oder in diesem Fahrzeug verbringt, ohne mit dem Fahren an sich beschäftigt zu sein. Es gibt Möglichkeiten in unterschiedlichster Form und hier kommt eben wieder dieser multidisziplinäre Ansatz zur Sprache. Das kann sein, wir wollen Mediziner ansprechen, weil vielleicht kann man einen Medical Check-up machen, während man im Auto ist. Wir wollen Designer ansprechen, wir wollen Plattformbauer ansprechen, wir wollen alle möglichen Blickwinkel abdecken und einladen, nach Tel Aviv zu kommen, um im Mai im Rahmen dieser EcoMotion Week in 2 Tagen an Konzepten zu arbeiten, wie das autonome Fahrzeug als neue Milliarden-Dollar-Plattform für kreative Unternehmen genutzt werden kann. Und als Einstieg in das Thema möchten wir jetzt zuerst die Tami Warshavski bitten, uns eben einen Überblick zu geben über die Kreativwirtschaftsszene in Israel, und zwar unter dem besonderen Hinblick auf die Kombination zum Technologieschwerpunkt, denn das ist die Zauberformel, die eben dann, wo sozusagen the magic happens dann am Ende des Tages. Und es freut mich jetzt sehr, Tami zu uns zu bitten, und sie wird uns die nächsten 15 Minuten ihre Präsentation geben. Tami.
Hi, hello. So I'm Tami Warshavski, as I've been introduced, and I'm really happy to be here today in this session that brings together the creative industries and the automotive industries to look together for new opportunities for both sectors. I run in Israel the Innovation Center in Shenkar College. It's a special place that brings together design and engineering. And the Innovation Center was initially responsible to build entrepreneurship and leadership program for design and creative industries professionals. It happened to be in a really exciting time in which design takes more and more dominant role in the global economy. And with the years, we became really the knowledge center for creative economy in Israel. We work with the academy, with the businesses, also with the government, implementing new policies and really building the whole ecosystem for the creative industries in Israel. So I'm really happy for this kind of initiatives that in a world that the global dominant, which the global dominant discussion or debate is focused on the opportunities and risk from big data, automation, technology. So this, enlarging the debate and try to see how the power of creativity and the creative industries can help businesses to innovate, to intersect with technology and business and really bring new opportunities to the table. As I understand, this webinar is also kind of an introduction of a future workshop that will be hosted during the EcoMotion event in May in Israel. So we will work together also during the workshop around the topic of future opportunities for the automotive sector. And when we talk about innovation, I think it's really today looking to the future more than analyzing the past that cannot tell us anymore in a rapid change economy how the future will look like. So I would like to ask with a question of who are the ones who predict the future. So some will say technological development predict the future. Here I show how science fiction movies and the power from imagination and the world of art really demonstrated the ability of these domains to predict the future and to accelerate the development of new technologies that were not exist before. We can see it in Star Trek, in Back to the Future, in Jules Verne's books. Many of the technologies that are part of our day-to-day life basically were invented in imagination of people. And I'll start with a nice intro of a survey done to explore which are the disciplines who can predict the futures of the planet, of humanity, culture, technology, and the economy. And these research looked at the world of prophecy, political, the arts, science, and business. And we could expect that the result of the research would look like that each one knows to predict the future exactly in their field of expertise. But in fact, the result of the research look more like that, which means that we can see the world of the arts predict the future of technology, and culture and science predict the future of culture, the business the future of the planet and humanity. Politics doesn't predict the future in any of the field. And what does it mean? It means that looking only in one domain is really limitation the opportunities of any sector to grow. And the radical input and thinking of the world of arts are really important for exploitation of possibilities that comes from technological and cultural transformation. So companies that want now to innovate needs to design. Me personally, I started my professional journey as software engineer, worked in the 90s in the multimedia sector in Israel. And I really remember we were the development team and the design team, and in the strategic meeting of the companies, I really remember the significant dominant role of the creative team in the strategic decisions of where the product and the company are going. So there started my decision to leave the company. I moved to study design and then business design, and then I set up the innovation center at Shenkar. So I really come with this interdisciplinary understanding of the processes from technology, from design, business, entrepreneurship point of view. And what was those years, my personal insight is now really a global dominant phenomenon that we see designers and people from the creative industries taking strategic positions in leading organization. We can see here Vice President of Design in 3M, Vice President of Customer Experience in Deutsche Telekom, McKinsey Design, and really the companies that used to be dominant by business people or technology are really now co-creating the future of those companies together with designers. And companies also see now data that is bring proven data that investing in design is really showing results in return on investment in the bottom line of the companies. This is a design index survey done monitoring a company's performance along 10 years in the stock exchange, and we see that companies that are design driven, their performance is only 230% higher than the S&P index, which this is, and there is more and more data from that kind. And it's not only true for big companies, also now 31% of global startups are funded by designers. These are big companies today that we consume their products and services on a daily basis. Airbnb, Instagram, Pinterest, Kickstarter are all founded or co-founded by designers. Much more than aesthetic, of course, they reinvent the entire industry in which they operate. They invented in some way the sharing economy. They rethinking existing models, setting new rules, and in a way build innovative and competitive advantage strategies for their companies and industries. When we talk about creative economy, we mean creativity throughout the entire economic sectors. They bring new language of innovation. The role of, and the way design is operating is changing with the industrial revolution, and today it's close both to the strategic decisions of the company and the day-to-day operation of the company. If we talk about a world of big data, so all the area of data visualization that help decision making and understanding opportunities coming from this data, design thinking, of course, user-centered research, gamification, which become part of different industries to increase loyalty, storytelling, and so on. So all these tools are becoming the new language of innovation. If we look a bit deeper on the case of Airbnb, that can be analyzed in many different ways, all the company's strategy and processes are very much focused on value creation for the user experience. This is a citation of Brian Chesky. He's a co-founder of Airbnb. We'd ask these questions like, what can we do to surprise our customers? What can we do to make their service better, and so on. And they work to build the customer journey with an animation studio, Pixar, that is really focusing on the people, on their experience, and how they can bring value in any interaction with the company. So it's really inspiring case, and you can see that the design is really part of the DNA of the company in anything that they are doing. And the world of design and creative industry is also moving from being human-centered to humanity-centered. The new generation is asking for new ethics from companies today, and these requirements are setting, also shaping the DNA of what innovation is. So trust and sustainability and responsibility are part of how we measure innovation, and there is a very important input for the creative industries, helping companies innovate also in this kind of matrix. What is interesting to see when we speak here, we will speak a lot probably also about the context of creative industries, and the automotive as part of the Israel is known as the startup nation. But what is interesting to see in different surveys is that the reason why startups fail is basically not because lack of access to funding, but rather more of product market fit perspective. So 42% of startups, they don't answer any market need. They have poor marketing, they ignore their customers, they have non-user friendly products. So all these kind of elements that the creative and design input can really improve also the performance of success of startups and companies. And it's really in line also with what is now known as the future skills. So creativity and complex problem solving and critical thinking are part of these skills of the future that comes and build new, very exciting opportunities for the creative sector to grow and to really have a very much bigger impact on society and the economy. And in Israel, we did the first monitoring, and we really see increasement of a rise in 66% of direct foreign investment in startup coming from the creative industry. So there are more and more people coming, whether from cinema, from choreography, from design, from all fields of creative industries, to build new startups, whether in food tech, in the automotive, in music tech, in services, fashion technologies, and so on. So it's really exciting time for the creative industries in Israel. This is a citation from a designer, which is the co-founder of Fiverr and Lemonade, two very big companies in Israel, in one of the business magazines in Israel, saying design is more important than technology, and the first employee of the company has to be a designer. So it's really promising a future for the design field. Just to share that in last year, the Minister of Economy in Israel and in Austria signed a bilateral agreement for a joint cooperation between the countries in the field of creative industries and the creative economy. So we are really happy to have this initiative, really to take this forward and to see how this, what this kind of collaboration can bring. So today we speak about the future of the automotive sector. In a way, as many other industries, also the automotive industry is going into a very radical transformation, changing from product focus industry to service industry. And Orlie, that will come after me, will talk about more about the transformation and opportunities in this industry. But I think we can see since always that the most interesting, I think, vehicle in all the motor shows is the concept car, which usually presented as collaboration between the technology and the design part of the automotive companies. So this is new opportunities for this sector, and we are happy to collaborate on that with EcoMotion. So I will introduce you now Orlie Dahan. She's the executive director of EcoMotion, a very vibrant and exciting community in Israel, exactly around the topic of today.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. This is actually my first webinar. I've done 5 podcasts in the past year, but this is the first time I'm doing this, so very excited. Good. So if you'd ask an Israeli, what does Israel really have to do with the automotive industry? They talk to you about this. This is a Susita. It's a car we tried to manufacture in the 60s, 70s. Those of you who work with materials will understand that the concept of making it out of fiberglass was not a great success. Fiberglass doesn't last long. I have two brothers that surf. They break them all the time. And there was also rumors that camels started actually eating the cars. So I don't know if that's a myth or not, but anyway, between this not successful thing and 2020, where Israel is the frontier of the line when it comes to innovation and technologies in smart mobility, we try to understand what happened along the years. And we explained it with two main things. First is the digital era. I don't need to explain it to you. All different industries all around the world are going through digitalization. But what's interesting about the vehicle and about mobility is that in the end today, we mobilize mostly on our mobile phones, and we are consuming a lot of mobility services. And all of these are becoming shared. And also when we're talking about the vehicle itself as a platform, it's becoming digitalized itself. If we're talking about in-cabin sensing, ADAS, where the vehicle is looking all around it, the vehicle is starting to communicate with other vehicles and infrastructure. So a lot of these technologies are really good here in Israel, especially cyber also, which is needed in those cases. The other thing was global recognition. We started getting around these 2007, 10, 13, where Mobileye, most of you probably know it, did one of the biggest deals in history, $15.3 billion bought by Intel, Waze, which was sold to Google. And Waze not only changed the way we move, they changed the way we behave. If my mom goes from the same job, same house to the same job every day, both the house doesn't move and the office doesn't move, but every day she puts on her Waze, something changed in her behavior and something changed in the way that we think or don't think anymore, because now the road and the grid and the vehicle and our phone are optimizing our routes all the time. General Motors was the first one to open an R&D center here in Israel, putting Israel on the map as the place to develop the future technologies. And Better Place, which, like Susita, maybe wasn't a great success story. For those of you who don't know, Better Place came with this vision of making the world electric and understanding that electric vehicles create a range anxiety. They said, well, if instead of charging, we swap the battery, that won't create the range anxiety, and you'd go in and out of a station as fast as you go in and out of a gas station. The idea was great. You would go in the station, a robot would come underneath the vehicle, take the battery out, then put a new back in, and you'd go out. It didn't work out. Well, it happens a lot in innovation, but it's okay. You need to keep trying. But what it did do actually was create a really good human capital that once it closed, started scattering around the market, opening automotive departments and mobility startups in the field. So in the end, all is for the best. So with the global recognition and digitalization, today Israel is a valid player in this making of not future, I think it's becoming already present urge of mobility and a big mobility player in the world. EcoMotion was founded in 2011 as a nonprofit joint venture of an NGO called the Israel Innovation Institute and the Israeli government, which is the Fuel Choice and Smart Mobility Initiative under the Prime Minister's Office and the Ministry of Economy. Our goal was to position Israel as a smart transportation center globally and to support startups throughout their lifetime. And we thought, how do we support these startups? Because in the end, if we want to help them grow, startups can't grow within just themselves. So we understood that we need to start first with creating a community that would bring together all the different entities, whether it's the academia, the investors, which are fueling this ecosystem, the industry, which are the clients, the government, the regulators, all to one community, but putting the focus and spotlight on the startups, which are bringing the innovative solutions to today's challenges. And it actually worked. Today we have over 600 startups and 10,000 community members, and it keeps growing globally. And these startups have already raised over $6.3 billion, not including the Intel Mobileye deal, which I told about before, which brings it to $21 billion. This is becoming a really big market, and it grows throughout the year. We have 965 million invested already in 28 startups in 2019, and there is more to come. So I wanted to help you kind of break it down, because I understand we have creative thinkers and people from all over different domains. When I say smart mobility, what it means. These are the sectors as we see them. So we have autonomous and connected. So everything that is needed in order to create the autonomous vehicle. How do we change the driver, and how do we change and create the vehicle as one that would see for itself, feel for itself, move for itself, communicate for itself, and all of these things are needed now in order to replace the human driver. In the creative workshop, we're going to think, what are the passengers going to do if they're not driving, or they don't need to be aware of the road anymore? What's going to happen around that time? The second thing is the electrification and energy. So electric vehicles, if we're looking at this future of mobility, we're talking autonomous, electric, shared, and connected. So electric is for sure a way to go. And this is something that is a big urge globally. Mobility services can be many different worlds. We're talking about shared mobility, where either we're sharing a ride with people who we don't know, or maybe we're sharing the vehicle. Today we have a vehicle, we use it for maybe 2 hours out of 24. What does it do the next 22 hours where I don't need it? Maybe my colleague needs it. Maybe someone I don't even know needs it. Maybe it's to deliver a package. Maybe it's to, deliver a human. It can be many different things. Maybe someone can use it for a meeting room, because maybe all the chairs are not going to be facing the same way because we don't need to face the road anymore. So many things can be there. Micromobility is anything from a kick scooter to a bicycle to a uni wheel. Let's think also of micro vehicles, vehicles that are the size of a human or two. I love the slide that my colleague put before to show a person sleeping. Maybe we can do mobility power cap. It's like a new idea. So instead of a power nap, it's a power cap. You have 30 minutes to get your next appointment. You have 30 minutes to rest. If we're looking at fleet management, because a lot of these taxis out there today, if you think of autonomous robo-taxis, then it's going to be a fleet. How do they all manage themselves? Public transportation, how does that shift and create multimodal parking, traffic management, mapping, navigation, logistics? All of these are becoming in sync one with the other. We have drones and aviation. If we're talking today about mobilities door to door, we're not looking anymore at the train from station to station. We understand that it's from the door to the station, to the other station, to the end point. Then in this field, we start talking about roof to roof. How do robo-taxis start helping us move from place to place? The streets are getting congested. Let's congest the sky. There's a lot to do there. Oh, sorry. And maritime, which is also a part of smart mobility today. We look at this holistic thing of shipping, and then to port, and then to hinterland into the city on a truck, and then a bicycle, maybe to the last destination. So we do a lot of things in EcoMotion. We have the community, which we do meetups and investors events and main event. We have a whole innovation toolkit of hackathons and challenge competitions and many more. We've also focused on implementation in the past 2 years to not only help startups succeed globally, but to start seeing how we implement them here in the streets. All of these logos of big mobility players, big MNCs are already active here in Israel, whether they have scouters working for them full-time or they have collaborations. And all of those have already centers that they opened here, innovation centers and R&D centers since GM. So more and more activities are happening here in Israel as part of mobility. Now, the biggest interaction with the EcoMotion community is the EcoMotion main event, and that's where most of our community members from all over the world come gather and meet. We've actually really grown throughout the years, and last year we had 4,000 attendees that came. Here we can show a quick video just for you to understand the vibe, because there's something different about the EcoMotion main event. It's not really a conference, it's not really an exhibition, it's something that is part of all, that's why we call it an event. It's something that brings together everyone. We believe that business is done human to human and not logo to logo. So it's a lot about creating human interactions, of sharing knowledge and exploring synergies. How do I? He will play? Okay, cool.
Good morning, Boker Tov, bonjour, konnichiwa, and guten Morgen, and welcome to the 7th EcoMotion main event.
The EcoMotion main event is 24 hours, and in all this time, you need to make as much business connections as you can, to meet as many people as you can, and to explore as many startups as you can.
EcoMotion is about the community, it's about the people that here. And it's exciting, and I'm excited to be here and see all those changes that we dream of.
It's my first EcoMotion.
This is our 3rd year, 5th year in EcoMotion.
We're really excited to be back. It's grown to be such a huge event.
Bringing together all the relevant players from mobility world.
Everything at the same place, at the same time.
Great place to meet people.
First of all, I must admit, it's perfect.
I suspect everybody in this room already knows this, but you have to always ask yourself, is my idea, is my company, is my perception helping make people's lives better, and is it going to change the world in a positive way?
EcoMotion is really an incredible conference.
It's a great opportunity. I prefer being at EcoMotion rather than at CES.
Towards the tipping point is not just a saying, but we feel it. We feel we're towards that day.
So just in a nutshell, last year we had almost 4,000 attendees for 44 countries, 135 exhibiting startups, a lot of different companies, a lot of speakers from all over the world. And we started with this whole concept of workshops and how to bring these minds together in order to define things, to think of the future, to think of what are the challenges, what are the solutions, and to use this event also to bring innovation and mobility forward. These were a few of our partners last year. You probably know many of these logos here, and it keeps growing a lot of attention globally. I think this is the most interesting slide. We did phone interviews with over 100 startups that exhibited, and they actually made over 3,000 connections, which led to follow-ups, which led to 192 negotiations, and 52 deals were made 3-4 months after the main event. So I think this is the most interesting. It's coming in order to come and interact and to make valuable connections, which leads to good interactions in the end. If you have good chemistry, then do good business. This is the main event. Yeah, it's okay. I have this GIF. You can see it on EcoMotionWeek.com. It's like a little GIF of the new branding of EcoMotion 2020. Just to go quickly through that week, then on the 19th of May, we have the main event itself. We're going to have also side events before and after. We were discussing doing the hackathon also on the day before, on the May 18th. And all throughout the week, there's going to be side events about mobility from different aspects. So if this is a topic that's interesting to you, I suggest attending the whole week. And this is the way to kind of get engaged, learn a little bit more, and go into the website to see more about EcoMotion, the week, and everything that we do.
You can say that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Orlie. Thank you very much for the presentations, Tami and Orlie. We're really looking forward to the May event. And checking the watch, we have some more minutes for Q&A. So, Christina, any questions from your side?
So, hello again to Tel Aviv. Thank you so much for your presentations. Yes, we got some questions that I would like to forward to you. The first question is, which creatives from which branches should especially have an open eye and ear on the smart mobility revolution that is going on?
I would say that I would say to any, but at the end is a personal. It's a personal choice if someone is interested in the topic, because we can see someone coming from choreography, enter into a startup of food tech, and industrial designer, which is maybe the most obvious creative sector to this domain, but also all the area of service design,
but the journey user experience.
Yeah, exactly. Journey maps, the animation. So I think any creative mind can have a great input also in the thinking and conceptualization. So we are not limiting this to a specific sector.
Basically, if we look at the mobile phone, which was created in 1973 as actually a mobile phone to do phone calls on, and then the smartphone came and we maybe use it for phone calls 5% of the time, and 95% of the time we use it to manage our life and have all these services on it, then we should look at the vehicle. We will probably use it 5% of the time to move, and then what do we do 95% of either the time we move or we don't move? What are going to be the services there? What are we going to consume? What are we going to use? How are we going to optimize our time?
I liked, especially like when we had our talk last week, I liked your example of the pizza delivery, that the pizza will be baked while it's delivered to the customer. So this gives you an idea of how diverse the group should be.
Thank you. Another question, autonomous driving, and I already said it in my introduction, has an impact on other branches as well. Actually, I was thinking of maybe insurances, cybersecurity and so on. Do you have an idea what are other fields that should have like also an open eye and ear on the things that are going on right now?
Yeah, probably also payments, fintech. If we're looking at this world of multi-modeling, then I want to buy a ticket or a ride from my house to my destination. It doesn't matter what type of mode I will use, or maybe switch modes, but it will be one thing. If I'm looking at insurance, like you said, I want to insure myself from 252 until 310. If I'm looking at maybe ads, we have this startup in the community which says e-commerce is a big thing, right? We order things online while we live, travel, work, whatever. And he found that a lot of people order things online in the tube, in the metro, in their commute time to work. So he created this collaboration with Deutsche Bahn and other big mobility players, where if you buy online while you ride, then the ride is free. So maybe also like thinking outside of the box of what can be done during this time and what can we consume.
Orlie, you mentioned different fields of autonomous driving or autonomous vehicle. We are actually thinking of the road or about the road, but there's also potential as to the maritime sector, for instance. Are there any analysis about that?
The maritime sector is also going through electrification and autonomy. That's why we added it into the community about 2 years ago. We added this sector because we feel like a lot of technologies that are used today that to switch the vehicle to autonomous is going to be used for big ships one day. So we added this also thinking that we will bring a new market for startups. I think for the workshop itself, we would like to focus on autonomous vehicles, right? For on-road, I think it will be also something that would be most relatable maybe as a human. We use it probably, it's a subject that is very close to our heart. So maybe we don't manufacture vehicles and we're not engineers creating mechanisms, but we know how we would like to ride.
Yeah, that's correct. It's an everyday experience.
Yeah. How the new platform can create new experiences and new values for the users of new mobilities. We also talk about putting some focus on personal mobility, which takes more and more place, at least in the urban scenarios.
Maybe also AR, VR, to be projected on windshields.
Well, basically the opportunities are endless, and we invite you to come up with new ideas that nobody has ever thought of until now.
What is going to be
perfect
Tinder?
Invitation from Günther. Thank you. Another question. Are legal constraints the last challenges on the way to implement autonomous driving in the public? What do you think?
It's a matter of time. It's just technology is always way before regulation. So regulation right now is trying to understand how to create a regulation that on one hand will enable this to happen, on the other hand keep the safety of the public, but not strangle this new market that most of us don't even know how it will be used and how it will be laid out. So we'll just give the government some time. But
yeah, we also believe that if we bring to stage some very optimistic and attractive future scenarios, so this has the opportunity also to move forward regulation infrastructure, because it creates motivation of other stakeholders to participate in this change.
Tami, you mentioned that the need of the market is one reason to fail for startups. Is there already any analysis as to the smart mobility future? Where are the big market or segments? Is there any data already?
I don't know a specific one, but as we said here, I think this specific market has its own characteristic because it involves also infrastructure and regulation. So it's not like any other B2B market, which there is also, the need of the end user can drive the change. But here it requires a cooperation of other players.
Okay, another question that came in, the problem of feeling secure. It could be, actually it's a personal statement right now, but I guess that this is the big like burden that has to be implemented or solved somehow. How can a feeling of protection be raised? Do you have any opinion as to that? And maybe how can a feeling of protection can be raised by creative solutions?
Exactly. So I think there is obviously a technological aspect here, but I think also it's a role of design to build this perception of safety. And also, if we think about Airbnb and they changed dated, who could imagine that someone will go to sleep in someone else's house a few years ago? So and design helped to build that trust. That you can enter, you can rent your private house, but also sleep in the couch of someone else. So for sure, it's a technological challenge, but in order for the technology to be perceived also as safe, so it's a role of design for sure.
Also, if we look at safety, there's safety in the personal mobility and also in public transportation. If we're talking about autonomous vehicles, we can also look at autonomous shuttles, which are dynamic shuttles, which you can order on demand. You're going on the shuttle. You are using public transportation with complete strangers. We can look at these aspects also. I know the World Bank is really looking at that a lot, how to enhance safety of humans in public transportation, especially in third world countries, and creative solutions for that are welcome.
I think it's we see it from the questions that the security and safety topic is a very interesting and a crucial one. But I wanted to stress that within our activity that we plan to do in the next month, and especially during the EcoMotion week, we want to imagine all those problems are solved already, and we want to have the freedom to think, okay, what can we put now on top of or on this platform, and to really focus on the opportunities. For sure, there are big challenges still to overcome and to solve in order to make an autonomous vehicle safe. But I think we should focus on the opportunities more than on the challenges. This is at least what we try to do.
In the end, the computers will make less mistakes than humans.
I know, but humans don't want to believe it. You know, always you think like, but still I'm the better driver. Yeah,
Thank you very much from my side right now. There are some minutes left, and I would suggest to say thank you again and goodbye from Vienna, and hand over to you again for last words as to your common project as to the EcoMotion Week. And again, thank you, Orlie, thank you, Tami, and thank you, Günther.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Vienna. I just want to leave you with a few thoughts. Let's say right now, if you order an Uber, then you have a driver picking you up. You're either making conversation or you're not, you're on your phone, but you're moving around, you're from your house to wherever you want to go. Now think if that other human is not in the vehicle and you have the time alone, and think that this vehicle has sensors to look inside the cabin to understand your position, to understand if you're sitting down or laying down, or how you are. So think maybe the vehicle can say, you know what, your vital signs are not the same as the last few months, because I have your profiling already, I know who you are, I know what you like. Maybe the next car that picks you up has some healthcare monitoring system on top of it. Maybe because I know who you are, I know what music you like. So I can make sure the also air conditioning is like you like it. If we're talking about maybe adjusting the vehicle chairs the way you like it. So it's a lot about think from the world of data and of the world of personalization. I think of the journey is also super important.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to invite you to join the this new industrial revolution, which I call it Design 4.0, which is joining the technological revolution of the fourth industrial revolution. And I invite you to come and be part of this during the EcoMotion.
Thank you to both of you. I mean, you know that Tel Aviv is an exciting city, and our goal and our promise is that we make this event even more exciting. It will be an awesome week for you, and we'll have really like new formats that we test also for you to really you know to experience like what it means to work in a diverse group and to approach new solutions. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. You have all the data about the event on your screen, and if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. And yeah, we're looking forward to see you all in May in Tel Aviv. Thank you and bye bye.
Thank you, Austria.
Thank you.
Then I use the last opportunity to say thank you, oder ich switche auf Deutsch. Sag euch nochmal Danke. Ich habe in der Zwischenzeit noch schon Anfragen bekommen für Kooperationen mögliche, für konkrete Fragen zu den Preisen oder den Kosten einer solchen Reise. Ihr seht in der Präsentation unsere Kontaktdaten, beziehungsweise könnt ihr euch gern bei kreativwirtschaft.wko.at melden, beziehungsweise auch im Außenwirtschaftscenter in Tel Aviv. Herzlichen Dank nochmal fürs mit dabei sein. Bleibt uns gerne treu, abonniert unseren Newsletter und seid auch beim nächsten Webinar wieder mit dabei, wenn ihr wollt. Das nächste Mal aus Lissabon. Herzlichen Dank.